There are stories whispered in forgotten scriptures, tales so ancient that even time itself tried to bury them under the dust of centuries. Among them, one stands out as if it were carved not in stone, but in the fabric of eternity. The legend of Raziel, the angel of God's secrets, and the city lost to memory where the deepest mysteries of creation were once entrusted to humankind. This is not just another story of ruins hidden beneath the earth or of temples abandoned to the wilderness. This is the story of a divine covenant, a moment when heaven and earth collided and a truth too powerful for ordinary eyes was handed down. Those who dared to listen were forever changed. Those who ignored it condemned themselves to wander blindly in the shadow of ignorance. Imagine a city that does not exist on maps, a place so carefully concealed that no empire could claim it, no conqueror could plunder it, and no historian could name it. It is said this city stood as a sanctuary built not of stone alone, but of celestial resonance, aligned with the heavens, echoing the very order of the universe. Within its walls, sacred halls were bathed in light that did not come from the sun, and inscriptions glowed with symbols only angels could understand. To this city came Raziel, not as a distant figure, but as a messenger, carrying with him the hidden blueprint of creation, the whispers of God's own mind, condensed into truths that could either elevate humanity or destroy it. For ages, seekers have tried to trace this place, convinced it might be Atlantis under the waves, or an eastern stronghold swallowed by desert sands, or even a heavenly realm that only reveals itself to souls prepared to see beyond illusion. Yet, the story is not about finding a place on the earth. It is about remembering a forgotten inheritance, one that has always been waiting, locked within the silence of human memory. And Raziel, the keeper of God's secrets, remains at the threshold of this forgotten city, watching who among us dares to return. Why was this city hidden? Why were the secrets of God given to mortals only to be concealed again? Was it mercy, to protect us from knowledge too heavy for our hearts? Or was it betrayal, orchestrated by those who feared what might happen if humanity remembered its true origin? These questions remain unanswered, and it is within the tension of this silence that the story begins to unfold. Tonight, as you listen, allow yourself to enter this city. Do not imagine walls of stone, but pathways of memory, corridors of light, and gates that open only when the soul is ready. Raziel waits not with thunder, but with whispers, and the secrets he carries are not lost. They are waiting to be found by those who will not turn away from the weight of truth. And you, here and now, stand at the threshold. To speak of Raziel is to speak of a figure cloaked not in shadow, but in the dazzling brilliance of divine secrecy. His very name, Raziel, means the secret of God. Among the hierarchy of angels, each has its role messengers, protectors, warriors, but Raziel stands apart as the guardian of the hidden, the archivist of eternity, the keeper of knowledge that even angels whisper about with reverence. If Gabriel announces and Michael defends, Raziel reveals. Yet, what he reveals is not given to everyone. His knowledge is a fire that illuminates only to those who approach it with courage, humility, and a willingness to bear the burden of truth. The ancient texts say Raziel was entrusted with a book, a cosmic manuscript written not on parchment, but on the very vibration of creation itself. It is known as the Sefer Raziel Hamalek, the Book of Raziel the Angel. Within its words were encoded the mysteries of existence, how the heavens were formed, how the stars dance in their celestial rhythm, how the earth breathes with life, and how the soul journeys beyond the limits of flesh. It was said that Raziel gave this book first to Adam after the fall, so that humanity would not be condemned to absolute darkness, but might carry within itself a spark of remembrance. But Raziel is more than a keeper of a book. He is the embodiment of divine intimacy, of God's decision to allow fragments of infinite wisdom to be entrusted to fragile beings. The sages of old described him as standing so close to the throne of the Creator that he hears every whisper of divine intention. Nothing escapes his awareness, for he listens not just to words, but to the eternal pulse of creation itself. And from that vantage, he selects, with deliberate care, what may be given and what must remain hidden. Those who have claimed to feel Raziel's presence often describe it not as thunder or lightning, but as a sudden knowing, a whisper in the mind, a symbol in a dream, a pull toward sacred mysteries that cannot be ignored. His voice is not loud, yet it resounds like a bell across the corridors of the soul. He does not appear with flaming sword or angelic armies. Instead, his gift is far more dangerous, the unveiling of truth. To encounter Raziel is to stand before a mirror that reflects not who you believe you are, but what lies beyond your illusions. He reveals what is concealed not only in the heavens, but also within the human heart. That is why his presence is feared as much as it is revered. For some, his revelations lead to awakening. For others, they bring unbearable confrontation with truths too heavy to carry. Raziel is, therefore, not just the angel of secrets, he is the threshold itself. And it was to him, and through him, that the mysteries of God flowed into the lost city, into the place where heaven's wisdom touched the ground of human existence. Legends whisper of a city not bound by the geography of the earth, a city woven into the very pattern of creation. It is called by many names across different traditions, yet its essence remains the same, a sanctuary where the secrets of God were entrusted to humanity. Unlike the capitals of empires or the monuments of kings, this city was not built for conquest or glory. It was a vessel, a living temple aligned with the stars, constructed so that divine knowledge could flow without distortion into the hands of those chosen to receive it. To find it was not a matter of traveling across deserts or oceans. It was, and still is, a matter of attunement. Only those whose souls vibrated with readiness could see its gates. Imagine a place where architecture was not just design, but language. Towers rose in harmony with constellations, their tips reflecting the heavens like mirrors. Stones hummed with subtle resonance, carrying inscriptions not carved but sung into them by angelic hands. Pathways glowed faintly under moonlight, leading initiates to chambers where silence itself spoke. It is said that this city did not have a sun of its own, yet its streets were never dark. A sacred light emanated from within, as though creation itself was present in its foundation. This was the stage upon which Raziel descended, not to display power, but to entrust knowledge that could change the fate of all who carried it. The city's exact nature has been debated for millennia. Some believed it lay beneath the waters with Atlantis, drowned when humanity proved unworthy. Others claimed it was hidden deep within deserts, covered by shifting sand so no mortal eye could desecrate it. Mystics argued it was not of this world at all, but suspended between realms, visible only when the veil thinned in moments of divine alignment. In every version, one truth remains constant. This was no ordinary settlement, but the very dwelling of revelation. The lost city was not meant for all. It was a filter, a crucible. Those who wandered there without preparation were overwhelmed by visions, unable to distinguish illusion from truth. Yet for the few who were chosen, every step revealed another layer of the divine. The city became a mirror of the universe, a reflection of God's mind encoded in streets, walls, and temples. Within its central sanctuary, it is said that Raziel himself appeared, holding the Book of Secrets, offering wisdom that could raise a mortal to heights beyond comprehension or shatter them entirely if their heart was unsteady. Though hidden now, echoes of this city remain. Ancient maps hint at it in cryptic drawings. Forgotten scriptures refer to a place where heaven and earth kissed. And in the dreams of mystics and seekers, the city still rises, luminous and eternal, calling back those who once walked its paths. Its gates remain closed to the world, yet open to the spirit. For the lost city is not only a place, it is a state of awakening. And those who hear Raziel's whisper may still find themselves standing before its radiant walls. The lost city was not merely a destination, it was a summons. Those who found their way to its gates were not wanderers guided by chance, but souls responding to a call that echoed long before they were born. It is said that the secrets of God were not scattered at random, but guarded until hearts strong enough to bear them were awakened. The city, under Raziel's watch, acted as a beacon, silent, invisible, yet pulling the chosen with irresistible gravity. To some, the call came in dreams, visions of radiant walls, symbols glowing in the night, or a voice whispering truths in forgotten languages. To others, it appeared as an unshakable longing, an ache for something unseen yet deeply familiar, as if they were remembering a home they never knew they had. The call was not gentle. It tested, it demanded. Those who resisted often found their lives marked by restless searching, as though nothing in the ordinary world could satisfy them. They would look to wealth, to love, to conquest, but all left them empty. Only when they surrendered to the mystery did the path begin to clear. And when they finally reached the city, they discovered that the real journey had not been through deserts or oceans, but through themselves. Every hardship, every trial, every silence they endured had been shaping them into vessels, capable of carrying the weight of Raziel's revelations. Inside the city, the call deepened. The chosen were not simply handed divine secrets. They were drawn into an initiation. The halls whispered lessons through symbols on the walls, through light that shifted like words, through silence that vibrated with meaning. Some found themselves reliving their lives in fragments, forced to confront lies they had spoken, wounds they had inflicted, truths they had denied. Others stood before mirrors of living stone that showed not their faces, but their souls, stripped of every illusion. The call demanded more than curiosity. It demanded transformation. At the heart of this initiation stood Raziel. He did not speak in endless discourses or reveal knowledge as men reveal books. Instead, he offered fragment keys rather than answers, sparks rather than flames. Each seeker had to kindle the spark within themselves, or it would burn out. The call of the secrets was not simply to know, but to become, to embody wisdom so deeply that it reshaped one's being. This was the true danger, for once the call was heard, it could not be silenced. A man could try to forget, but the echo would pursue him through dreams and shadows until he answered or was consumed. The call of the secret still exists. It lingers in humanity's collective memory, in the restless hearts of those who feel they do not belong fully to this world. It is Raziel's voice, eternal and insistent, beckoning us toward a truth long hidden, a truth too vast for words, waiting for those bold enough to listen. Among all the treasures whispered about in sacred traditions, none carries the same weight of mystery as the Book of Raziel. Said to be written by the angel himself, it was not a book in the sense we know today. Its pages were not bound by leather or parchment, but inscribed on a medium beyond human comprehension. Some said crystal tablets that shimmered with living light. Others claimed it was written in fire that could only be seen by those purified in spirit. Yet all traditions agree on one truth. Within it lay the architecture of existence, the blueprint of the cosmos, the secrets of God's own creation. The legends tell that after Adam and Eve were cast out of Eden, Raziel took pity on them. Stripped of their innocence, they stood in a world suddenly hostile, burdened with confusion and fear. To guide them, Raziel entrusted Adam with the book. It contained knowledge of the stars, the cycles of time, the mysteries of healing, and the laws that govern both the seen and unseen realms. With this knowledge, humanity would not be abandoned in ignorance, but given a lamp in the darkness, a chance to find its way back to divine origin. But such knowledge was perilous. The book was not a manual of power to be exploited, but a mirror reflecting the state of its reader. In the hands of the humble, it opened gateways of wisdom. In the hands of the arrogant, it twisted into a curse. For this reason, the book was said to disappear when unworthy eyes tried to read it, vanishing into light only to reappear in another time, another place, when humanity was ready again. Like the lost city itself, It was never destroyed, only hidden. The book's teachings were whispered to have shaped the foundations of ancient civilizations. Priests who gazed into the heavens, healers who drew upon energies unseen, architects who aligned temples with constellations, they were, perhaps unknowingly, echoing fragments of Raziel's revelations. Some mystics believed every sacred text humanity ever produced was but a shadow of this original book, a scattering of sparks from its eternal flame. What makes the Book of Raziel so dangerous is not only the secrets it contains, but the responsibility it demands. To read even a single line is to confront the truth that nothing in the universe is accidental, that every thought, every action ripples through creation. It is to recognize the burden of free will and the weight of divine law woven into the very structure of reality. And so, the book became legend, hidden yet eternal, like a seed buried deep in the soil of the world's memory. Raziel remains its guardian, waiting for those who will not use knowledge for domination, but for awakening. To seek the book is to risk everything, for it grants not only wisdom but also the undeniable proof that we are seen, known, and accountable before the source. If the Book of Raziel carried within it the architecture of the cosmos, why then is humanity today blind to its wisdom? The answer lies in the great forgetting, the fall that followed when mankind turned away from the responsibility of divine knowledge. In the beginning, when Adam received the book, there was awe, there was gratitude, and there was hope. Yet as generations passed, that awe faded, and what was once seen as sacred guidance began to be used as a tool for ambition. Knowledge that was meant to heal was twisted to control. Wisdom that was meant to liberate was bent to enslave. It was then, the legends say, that the book withdrew from human hands, hidden again under the watchful eye of Raziel. The forgetting was not sudden. It was gradual, like the dimming of a flame. Civilizations that had once reflected fragments of divine truth began to crumble. Their temples fell, their languages fractured, their memory of the angel blurred into myth. The city where Raziel once walked faded from human sight, not destroyed, but veiled. Its gates closed, and its luminous walls became invisible to those who no longer carried the resonance of humility and reverence. Humanity continued, but with each generation, the echo of the secrets grew weaker, drowned out by the noise of pride and conquest. This fall was not simply the loss of a book or a city, it was the loss of intimacy with the divine. Where once mankind could feel the nearness of the eternal, there was now silence. Where once dreams carried messages of wisdom, they became shadows without meaning. The human heart, designed to be a vessel for truth, became restless, hungry, never satisfied. The forgetting left a wound, a hollow that no empire, no wealth, no conquest could fill. And in that emptiness, humanity began to worship not the Creator, but its own reflection. Yet the fall carried its own hidden purpose, for within the silence, a paradox emerged. Though the secrets were veiled, they were not gone. The memory of Raziel lingered in symbols carved into stone, in myths told by firelight, in whispers carried through mystical traditions across the ages. Even when the city vanished, its resonance was preserved in the human soul, like an echo waiting to awaken. The forgetting was a punishment, but also a protection. Humanity was spared from destroying itself with knowledge it was not ready to bear. Still, the fall was not absolute. There have always been those who remembered faintly, who dreamed vividly, who felt the tug of something lost yet near. These were the visionaries, the mystics, the seekers who wandered deserts and climbed mountains, who looked not only outward but inward. To them, fragments of the secrets returned, small sparks of Raziel's eternal fire. And though the great city remains hidden, it waits, as Raziel waits, for the time when humanity will once again be worthy to step through its gates. When knowledge slips from divine hands into human ones, it rarely remains pure. The secrets entrusted to humanity through Raziel were never meant for domination, yet there were always those who saw in them a path to power. Across the ages, empires, priesthoods, and hidden orders sought to take hold of fragments of Raziel's wisdom, bending them into weapons of control. The Book of Secrets, though hidden, cast echoes, and those echoes were enough to tempt rulers and mystics alike into claiming that they alone carried the voice of heaven. In ancient kingdoms, high priests stood as gatekeepers between the divine and the people. Many began not as oppressors but as guardians, protecting what little remained of sacred memory. Yet over time, the line blurred. Knowledge became privilege, and privilege became power. The mysteries of the cosmos were hoarded in temples, encoded in rituals that only the initiated could access. What had been a gift meant to lift all of humanity became the foundation of hierarchies where a few ruled by, convincing the many that only they could speak for God. Later, secret societies arose, some preserving fragments of truth with reverence, others twisting them to feed ambition. Ancient texts hint at schools where initiates were taught celestial laws, not to free their spirits, but to expand the reach of their masters. Even kings and conquerors sought these secrets, consulting oracles and hidden scribes, not to honor the divine order, but to bend fate itself to their will. And always, in the shadows, Raziel withdrew further, unwilling to cast pearls before those who would trample them. Religions, too, played their role. While many were born from genuine encounters with the sacred, institutions often turned quickly into guardians of power. Doctrines were shaped not only by revelation but by politics, and inconvenient truths were buried. Stories of Raziel and his book were dismissed as apocryphal, dangerous, or heretical. To speak of hidden wisdom outside the sanctioned narrative was to risk persecution, exile, even death. And so, layer upon layer, the memory of the Angel of Secrets was suppressed, not only forgotten but actively erased. Yet the attempt to hide the truth never fully succeeded. For every scroll burned, a whisper survived. For every seeker silenced, another rose. The very effort to bury Raziel's name ensured it was never completely lost, because suppression itself is a testimony that something powerful lies beneath. Knowledge feared by rulers is rarely false. It is dangerous precisely because it threatens the structures they build. And Raziel's secrets, if restored, would dismantle every false throne, every illusion of control. Thus, those who tried to hide the knowledge did not act only out of malice. Some were afraid, terrified of what would happen if humanity touched truths too vast for unprepared minds. Others acted with calculation, seeing in concealment a way to preserve their own dominion. But the secrets of God are not owned, and they cannot be silenced forever. Raziel still guards them, and the city still resonates beyond the veil, waiting for those who refuse to bow to fear or manipulation. Though ages of silence have passed, though empires rose and fell, and the memory of Raziel's city was buried beneath layers of history and denial, the secrets of God have not been extinguished. They return like sparks through cracks in the darkness, appearing in visions, in symbols rediscovered, in revelations that arrive when the world teeters on the edge of collapse. The truth has a rhythm of its own. It hides when humanity is blind, and it returns when souls awaken enough to bear its weight. And now, more than ever, whispers of its return are echoing across the earth. Some say the return began with fragments of forgotten texts surfacing, scrolls long hidden in caves, gospels dismissed as heresy, manuscripts burned and yet somehow preserved. Each time such knowledge reappears, it shakes the ground beneath institutions built on silence. Others believe the return comes through synchronicities, symbols repeating in dreams. Strangers speaking words one has already felt in their heart, a sudden clarity piercing through confusion. These are not accidents. They are reminders, hints that the veil is thinning and that Raziel's presence is drawing near once more. The return of the secrets does not arrive as thunder. It comes as a stirring within the human spirit. More people today feel an unexplainable longing, as if they are searching for a home they cannot name. They are drawn to mysteries, to ancient ruins, to symbols carved into stone thousands of years ago. They feel the pull to invisible city, even if they cannot articulate it. This longing is the first sign of Raziel's call reawakening, a resonance that suggests humanity is slowly becoming ready again. But the return is not without resistance. Just as in the past, powers that thrive on ignorance fear what will happen if the hidden truths become visible once more. Attempts to suppress, ridicule, or distort the ancient knowledge continue. Yet, the difference now is that no fire can burn every copy, no edict can silence every voice, no wall can contain the whispers carried across the digital ether. Secrets once confined to a chosen few are now seeping into the collective, accessible to anyone whose spirit is open to listen. The ancients spoke of cycles, ages of darkness followed by ages of awakening. If that is true, then the present moment may well be the threshold of a new dawn. The return of Raziel's secrets is not about uncovering a single lost book or stumbling upon a hidden city. It is about remembering that such a city already exists within, and that the book is written in the language of the soul. The return is not external. It is a reawakening of what has always been encoded in us since the beginning. The secrets are returning because we are remembering. And as memory returns, the gates of the lost city grow luminous again, visible not to empires or scholars, but to those whose hearts burn with the courage to seek. How can one know if they are among those hearing Raziel's call, if the lost city is beginning to unveil itself within them? The signs are subtle, yet unmistakable, and once they appear, they cannot be denied. Awakening does not arrive with trumpets or lightning, but with a quiet shift in perception, a sense that the ordinary world no longer satisfies, that behind the veil of daily life something vast and eternal waits to be seen. The first sign is restlessness. Those who are awakening find that what once brought comfort now feels hollow. Conversations seem shallow, routines unbearable, pleasures fleeting. This restlessness is not despair, but the stirring of remembrance, the whisper that says, "You were made for more than this." It is Raziel's echo within the heart, pulling the soul away from illusion toward the truth. The second sign is attraction to the forbidden mysteries. Those awakening feel drawn to symbols they cannot fully explain, ancient glyphs, sacred geometry, forgotten scriptures. A single word, a fragment of a myth, resonates as if it were written for them. They begin to notice patterns others overlook, numbers repeating, dreams aligning with events, a voice within guiding them through silence. It is as if the book of Raziel is flickering open before their inner eyes, one line at a time. The third sign is sensitivity. The awakening soul feels the weight of others' emotions, the currents of unseen energies, the pulse of nature. Crowded places exhaust them. Sacred spaces nourish them. They begin to sense that every thought and action carries ripples into eternity. This sensitivity can feel overwhelming, yet it is also the first proof that one is touching the deeper fabric of creation. The fourth sign is the confrontation with truth. Awakening does not flatter, it strips illusions. Dreams may reveal hidden wounds. Encounters may force the seeker to face lies they once believed. At first, this is painful, for it feels like the ground beneath is crumbling. Yet it is also liberating, for only by tearing away falsehood can one step into the radiant gates of the lost city. And finally, there is the call to service. Those who awaken to Raziel's secrets find themselves compelled not to hoard wisdom, but to share light. They feel a responsibility, an urge to speak truth even when silenced, to live with integrity even when mocked. For they understand that the return of the secrets is not for the few, it is a wave meant to elevate all who are ready. If you recognize these signs, then know this: you are not imagining it. The stirring within you is the resonance of Raziel's call. The gates of the lost city are not far. They are opening within. And every step you take toward truth is a step closer to standing once more in the place where heaven and earth meet, where the secrets of God are not only remembered but lived. The journey of Raziel and the lost city is not a myth to be admired from a distance, nor a legend locked away in the past. It is a mirror showing us what has been hidden not only from the world but from ourselves. The city is real, though not in the way maps can measure. Its streets are carved into the soul, its gates are thresholds of consciousness, its light is the fire of remembrance. Raziel does not stand in ruins forgotten by time. He stands beside you, whispering into the silence, waiting for the moment you are ready to listen. The secrets of God were never destroyed. They were entrusted, concealed, protected, because humanity was not yet prepared to hold them without shattering under their weight. But now the echoes return, and the call has been sounded again. Every dream that unsettles you, every longing you cannot explain, every sign that tugs at your heart is the city calling you back. Is Raziel reminding you that you are more than a wanderer? You are a bearer of divine inheritance. But with inheritance comes responsibility. To carry Raziel's secrets is not to hold power over others, but to hold truth within yourself. It means to live awake in a world that prefers sleep, to see light in places where others see only shadow, to speak of eternity in a time obsessed with the fleeting. It will set you apart, perhaps even isolate you, for the awakened rarely walk the same path as the blind. Yet in that solitude, you will not be alone. For every soul that remembers becomes part of the living city, a citizen of the hidden sanctuary that spans across time and space. As you reflect on Raziel and the city lost to human eyes, ask yourself, do you hear the call? Do you feel the restlessness, the attraction, the sensitivity, the confrontation with truth? If so, you are already walking its streets in spirit. The gates are opening, not in some distant land, but within the temple of your being. And when you step across them, you do not enter a forgotten ruin, you enter the eternal present, the place where heaven and earth embrace. Now I invite you to seal this moment. Write in the comments these words, I am ready to remember. Do not write them casually. Write them as a declaration, not only with your fingers, but with your soul. In doing so, you join a current of awakening, connecting with others who hear the same whisper, forming a network of light that spans beyond what eyes can see. This is not superstition. It is resonance. To declare is to align is to awaken, and to awaken is to return. The secrets of God are not lost. Raziel still guards them. The city still shines. And those who are willing to remember will find themselves standing at its gates, no longer seekers, but chosen, no longer blind, but luminous. The story is not ending here. It is beginning within you.